Hi, welcome to Lachlan Likes a Thing, a show where I take a thing and see whether or not I like it. Now, this video we're actually going to be looking at two things. Two of my favorite in-ear earphones, the Sony MDR EX1000 and the Sony MDR 7550. You might be thinking that these two earphones look fairly similar, and you'd be correct. They come from the same family of earphone, they share the same basic design, they share the same 16mm vertically mounted dynamic driver, and they both have these kind of weird ear guides that really kind of will get you strange looks when you wear them around on the street. Now, the differences between the 7550 and the EX1000 really come down to their target market. The EX1000 is Sony's flagship dynamic driver audiophile earphone. So it's made out of a magnesium material. The build quality is absolutely fantastic. It's a beautiful, really well put together piece of kit. You get this really nice supple cable, and the length of the cable, it's detachable, but the length of the cable is suited for portable devices. The 7550 is less well known than the EX1000. The EX1000 is really well regarded in a lot of earphone enthusiast circles as one of the best dynamic driver earphones that money can buy. The 7550 is the professional stage monitoring version of this earphone, and because it's less widely available, it's a little less well known. The 7550 is also known as the EX1000 ST in Japan. Now, the 7550 is made out of plastic as opposed to magnesium. It's still a well-built earphone, but certainly not as premium feeling as the EX1000. Though in terms of sound, you'd be surprised at the difference between the two. The other difference is that the 7550 has the left and right channel markings in blue and red, which again is for their kind of studio use. They have shorter ear guides, and they have a longer cable, about 10 or 20 centimeters longer. So they're really good for home use if you're connecting to a desktop amplifier, because you have that much more room to move your head around, and that's really good. Now, they're actually also made in Japan, because they are actually individually hand matched between the left and right channel, so that you make sure you get the same volume and the same frequency response from both. Now, this is due to the fact that this is a professional use earphone, compared to the EX1000, which is still well made, but it's made in Thailand, and it's not individually hand matched as far as I can tell from the frequency response graphs that have been posted online. Now, they both fit the same way, the same weird way. They just go around the side of the ear and hook in like that. And this look is actually quite strange, and it'll get you looks if you wear them outside. But it's actually very, very comfortable, because the ear guides are flexible, and if you mold them the right way to your ear, it basically feels like you have nothing on at all, as Ned Flanders would say. The drawback is with this design, they both have quite large ports, and that means that they're quite open, so they're not very isolating at all, and in fact they're pretty much useless for use on the street or on the go. The only times where, and the other problem with these is wind noise, because when the wind is blowing, they kind of flow around this weird sticky outy shape from your ears, and they make a lot of wind noise, so they're pretty much useless for wearing around on the street or on a train or anything like that. They're most ideally suited for home use, or if you're listening to music in a quiet area like a library or something like that. That said, they both have an amazing sound to them. Now, the design with the large ports means that they feel actually much more open and spacious than any in-ear earphone really has the right to. You have this really wide kind of soundstage you have really excellent articulation from the low frequencies to the high frequencies. Everything sounds incredibly natural and very clear. But they both share, a neutral but slightly warm and slightly dry sound signature. Now, the big difference between the 7550 and the EX1000 is that the 7550 has a acoustic filter on the nozzle, and that basically means that across the high frequencies, so from female vocals, the top range cymbals and triangles and that kind of thing, they have about a 3 to 5 decibel cut. So, because they're for professional use, just to make sure that the ears don't get fatigued from high volumes. Now, what that means in practice is that the EX1000 sounds more clear and, brilliant kind of high frequency detail. So you really get a sense in a lot of recordings of the space of the studio, or the way voices or instruments echo around a space. And it sounds more open and spacious and articulate. That said though, the EX1000, because it has that slightly high frequency emphasis, it basically sounds quite painful, and it sounds quite painful on any badly recorded or a lot of modern studio recordings. It basically makes badly recorded studio recordings sound like garbage. It sounds like a hot mess, essentially. The 7550 is a lot more forgiving in that regard. It has a sound that's more well suited for a wider variety of music and a wider range of recording quality. That said though, it doesn't have as much kind of space or air to the sound, as much sparkle to the highs as the EX1000. When I compared the two, I actually prefer the 7550 because it's more suited to a wider variety of music, and because of the the high frequencies being less emphasized on the 7550, you can actually increase the volume a little more on the 7550, and therefore you can hear a warmer tone because the mids, the lower mids, and the bass is a little more emphasized. So, they both share the same basic signature, depending on what you want. The EX1000 is better for, if you have a lot of really nice acoustic or classical recordings. It's really brilliant for that, beautiful, dry, natural sound. The 7550 is a bit more of a jack of all trades. It will have a kind of really excellent articulation for all manner of recordings, though it doesn't have the last word in spaciousness like the EX1000. They are both, especially the 7550, they are both one of my most loved in-ear earphones because of the way they combine, almost like a big full-size headphone kind of soundstage. They're really comfortable, and just about the only con of their design is that they're pretty much useless for portable on-the-go use. The 7550s are actually what I use to do my audio kind of monitoring for a lot of uses, and also it's great for just music listening. And if you ever sit down anywhere, you just pop these in and you're away. So the EX1000 is actually discontinued in America, but I believe it's still available in Japan. The 7550 is actually orderable all over the place if you can get, the kind of Sony professional earphones. Anyway, thanks for watching this video. I hope this helps if you were doing any sort of comparison between these two earphones. There's not that many direct comparisons out there between the two because, the people who buy one have pretty much bought the other. My recommendation would be for the 7550s, especially for home use because of the longer cable and the more forgiving sound signature. But if you want the kind of absolute premium experience, the EX1000 is your choice. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and thanks for all your comments and questions in the last videos. Keep them coming. Anyway, enjoy the rest of your day and have a good one.